The views and opinions expressed on This Can't Be Adulting are solely those of the host and do not represent or reflect the views of any individual, organization, employer, or entity we may be affiliated with. The content of this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Listener discretion is advised. Yo, welcome to This Can't Be Adulting, the podcast where two guys who probably should have it all figured out absolutely don't.
Careers, money, relationships. No one handed us a manual, so we're figuring it out the only way we know how, with real talk, deep dives, and a whole lot of laughs.
I'm Herb.
And I'm Derek. And if you're out here wondering, am I doing this right? Trust us, you're not alone.
So hit play, relax, and let's figure this out together.
Yo, what it do? How we doing, everyone?
Welcome back.
Welcome back to This Can't Be Adultin. You know, it's funny. I was just thinking this because right before we started, I went to the bathroom. I'm like, I think it's mad funny that Herb literally pulled up to my crib like 30 minutes ago, maybe 25 minutes ago. We haven't really said much to each other. We just been prepping. I was downstairs finishing watching something. Yeah. And I sat here. We haven't really said anything. We've been real quiet. And then we got to start recording. It's like we got to put on this persona.
I feel like, I got to hold it.
I got to be all enthusiastic. And we was all kind of chill and down. It ain't a persona. It really is us. But like, it's the reality of like life. And like, you know, sometimes like we don't have all that full energy sometimes. It's just them up and down.
Well, I almost equated to like, I feel like it's like the nerves before a game, so it's
that's
like
a good
quiet,
point.
You know, you're quiet.
That's a good point. Right, you in ritual?
Yeah.
Herb, what's your pre-recorded ritual, Herb?
Oh man, I'll be like, so I'm going here like, all right, pre-check over here. First of all, did you plug in the microphone?
Yeah.
Or the camera? Is the camera microphone plugged in?
We got a checklist, y'all.
See, and this is only because I need to make sure I go through these things so it doesn't seem like it's
because we've been messing up.
The alignment is off. So yeah, I go through that mental checklist. Then I'd be like, all right, are you ready for the topics? All right, let's go. I think I know. And then I will say the thing that probably takes one of the longest things I think we both have is like coming up with our fun fact.
Yeah.
And see how it lands.
And see how it lands. And to be honest with you, sometimes we just be winging it. But here's what I'm going to say. It's funny because maybe some people think, oh, maybe y'all should prepare better. I'm not saying anyone says this, but like these are the things that go through my mind. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I'm like, yo, like this is our podcast. Sometimes I feel like, should I be preparing better? But like, I also think there's a level of authenticity to how we do handle our business when it comes to the podcast. You know what I mean? Like, this is just how we do it. This is how we've done it. And I feel like we still, I mean, y'all are the viewers. Please comment and let us know. I still like we're still outputting quality topics, quality conversations. And so it's almost like, why change it up too much with respects to how we get prepared for each episode? Now I get it, certain episodes maybe a little heavier that it requires more preparation, but
I would say what are your thoughts? I would say some of the stuff like as you were kind of mentioning there, I think at certain topics require a little bit more preparation than others where we like maybe having a little bit lighter funner on the conversation,
like the AI one.
That requires a lot more preparation than that one. Like listening to several podcasts, getting an understanding, and just getting a refresher. Because I think that's something that I think that's something we both technology. I mean, that's one of those types of things that you requires a little bit preparation. Where if we're talking about how we grew up in the '90s and our favorite shows, maybe slightly different though. Slightly different, but that's I think overall, I think that there's a healthy amount of consciousness and intention. Let's see. Intentional like actions that take place for us to make sure we're coming out and giving you guys some good quality content.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, like what really supersedes all that is just the authenticity of us being who we are and coming to the table with how we are, right?
This is who we are. Right? Sometimes I'm not gonna have the microphone on. It's just it's just gonna happen.
Well, also like I talk to you about this sometimes. Like I be worrying sometimes. This is me. If y'all haven't realized now, I'm a worrier.
Yeah, okay.
Derek worries. This is where my anxiety comes from. But like sometimes I think I'm like, yo. Sometimes I hear a topic and I'm like, yo, we gonna make this shit an hour, and then we get on the mic.
Oh God, I never worry about that. That part I never worry about,
bro. Like even this right here, this conversation wasn't planned, but I was just thinking about it. And then here we are. We probably took up a good 5 minutes of the podcast just on.
And it's going to go even further. I think, on the topic, we can go, because there's so many different routes we can go with the most topics, I would say. But I think especially with this one, I think there's several different ways we can go.
Yeah, so Herb and I were talking, this is an excellent segue into kind of what we wanted to touch on today heavily is this idea of the Institute of Education here in this country.
Yes.
And I don't necessarily mean higher education. Also, we are going to talk about that.
But
I don't necessarily mean higher education.
Yeah.
It's part of it all. K through 12 education,
Yes, there we
and
go.
kind of what our concept is of it. And the reason why I had hit you up this week about like wanting to talk about it is because I just think there's so many of us that are fucking stupid in this country. So fucking dumb. And yet so many Americans walk around thinking like America's the biggest and baddest and the smartest motherfuckers here. And so many people think that other people in other countries are stupid.
Yeah.
And it boggles my mind when I'm like, nah, bro, there's a lot of dumbass people in this country.
That ain't what we were taught, though. But
Right? That's not what we're taught. And that's why I wanted to talk about it because, again, a lot of what our, the theme of a lot of our podcasts is what we were taught about certain topics and what versus what we know about them now and how we handle them and how we face them today.
Yep.
And so I thought it was a good, given the nature of where we are as a country and as a Western society, is like, let's talk about education.
Yeah.
Let's talk about our experience when we were younger, and what we thought education was, good education was, and more importantly, what it even meant to be educated, let's say.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, figured we dive into that a little bit because I got my opinions on American education for sure.
How about and since you got him, let's maybe start with you then. Tell us about like what it was like for Derek growing up in his younger years and getting that education in the Northeast there.
Yeah, no, thank you. Let's dive into that. My education and a lot of how I viewed education and how I needed to excel in education was forged around my parents' expectations. So my parents always told me from a young age, you got to do good in school. You got to go to school. You got to go to school. You got to do good in school. Why? Because you need to go to college. Why do you need to go to college? You need to get a good job, make a lot of money, and so that you're not living in a small 2-bedroom apartment.
It was easy.
Here in Central Falls, Rhode Island. We're immigrants here. Like, go make money. Education is your way out of everything.
Yep.
And that's where I got the message from pretty entirely. Now, all of that was reinforced by what I saw in the culture. And again, just to define what the culture was, I'm talking about, popular culture, like the news, TV shows, movies, like obviously there's trash news coverage, there's trash TV shows, but like overall the culture was be a good little boy, go to school, do your homework, study well, pay attention, and everything will work out.
Yes.
Just magically. It was very simple.
Yes.
To your point. It was very, very simple.
Yes.
And so I internalized that as a child, and I realized, let me not say I realized, I thought that doing that would give me value in some way, shape, or form. And at the time, I didn't know that was the word. I didn't know that I was thinking it would give me value, but I thought it would make me accepted. I thought it would help. It would make my parents probably love me, even though that wasn't the case, even though they weren't indicating that they wouldn't love me if not. But it was just more of like, this is what my parents want, so I got to make them happy.
Yeah.
And so this is what I'm going to do.
Now, were you like A's and B's on honor roll every
year?
Growing up?
Growing up every year until I graduated. A's, mostly A's, one or two B's. Yeah. But like, because I don't know how they did it in Arkansas. Maybe it's the same thing nationwide. Maybe I'm just being naive and stupid. But they have like honor roll, and you have like first honors, second honors.
Yeah, like all A's. You can
all A's is first honors.
Yeah, then you could be an AB honor.
Yeah, and then you could be second honors as AB. So I was probably 80% of the time I was second honors, and 20% of the time it was first honors. And we also went by quarters. We were quarterly. We weren't semesters. So first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, all throughout high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I was on semesters. Like, that was halves, like 2 halves. Now, you have, like, the half semester, so, I mean, that's kind of like the quarterly. Yeah. But, like, it was all semesters. But even, I mean, it was always semester. Even
we went September through, like, the middle of November through, like, end of January. Then it was, like, February through, like, April, and then April through June, and that was your 4 quarters.
Oh, heck nah, bro. No. We started in August. I feel like August, and then you went, August to December was first semester. You come back in January, and January to it was probably June. The first week of June was probably when you got out of school. But like growing up, I would say in the South, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll say from culturally speaking, or from my home, from my parents and things. They were all big on education, like far as like going to school, getting good grades, being on the honor roll, you know, but I also just look back at it like it really wasn't that hard. I feel like for me at a small school in Mayflower, Arkansas, like it wasn't the education, the content or the material I didn't ever feel was challenging growing up. So I didn't feel like it was like hard for me to be able to
My bad.
do it. No,
Smart guy.
but I will say this,
with you.
not at all, because I came from one of the lower, when you start looking at the ACTs and some of the
SATs.
the
Did y'all do SATs? No.
ACT is what we did, but growing up, the standard Stat-9 test,
Yeah.
We had the lowest scores in like the county, the lowest scores in like the state, one of like this. So it was like obviously the education there was not the high thing that we had.
And you were a predominantly black school, or
No, hell no. It was a
predominantly
country ass white school. Yeah,
it was a country ass white
country
school.
white school. Yeah,
Got you. Okay.
yeah. Poor education is like what you would expect from if you had a stereotypical thought of like Arkansas education.
You bring up a very interesting point because I had the same experience where school was not difficult for me.
Yeah.
Like it just wasn't like, yes, there were difficult moments, but those were mainly brought on by myself and I.
Yeah, it was just volume. It feels like only reason it would be something
No, it was
difficult
procrastination for me.
Exactly. That's like
Procrastination.
and the volume meaning like I have to do I have to write a 2-page paper, and it's and I had the whole semester to write it, but now it's like a night before I need to write 2 pages.
Exactly.
No double spaced either. I don't know about that type of stuff.
The only time I actually did probably maybe struggle just like from a cognitive perspective, I don't even know if that's the right word, so forgive me if I'm not using that properly, but it was like maybe like 6th grade, and the reason why 6th grade is because I got moved into the gifted class, which is all the smart
GT?
kids. Yeah, it was a gifted class.
GT, gifted and talented.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess that's how it was, and it was a combination of 5th and 6th grade, and I remember struggling writing a couple of papers, and getting like a really low grade, and then like kind of figuring it out type of thing. But similar to you, like school just wasn't really difficult for me. It never felt very difficult for me.
Yep.
It was very like, okay, this is easy, just X, Y, Z. But then, come to find out once I like left, because I was within the Central Falls school system up until 9th grade, and I was in what we called CP courses. CP courses were college prep courses.
Okay.
So being in CP courses until my freshman year, I was again A's, B's, that type of a thing. And then I moved to the town over to Pawtucket. Then I tried to get into the same CP courses. They called it AS courses, advanced something courses.
Yeah, ours is AP, but yeah.
AS, advanced something. And they were like, oh, no, you can't come in. I'm like, what you mean? I was in highest honor CF. They were like, nah, that school system's completely different. Like, their school system isn't as good as our school system. So they had to put me in A-level courses. So there was AS, A, B, and I think there was C. And I was just in A courses because it didn't transfer over. So I wasn't at the highest advanced level courses. And I was like, and I did see the difference. Still easy. Don't get me wrong. It was still easy for me. I was still easy to catch on. But there was a difference based on your school system. And Central Falls wasn't the greatest school system.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
And even the school I went to, Pawtucket, told me that still wasn't a great school system compared to the rest of the world or the rest of the state either.
Yes.
But there was a difference.
Yeah, same. Like, I mean, I went through the same school system, K through 12. And but I was never in like any of the advanced classes or anything like that, or the GT classes or anything like that. So like honestly, like I didn't have homework. I honestly did not have homework throughout high school. Like never took a book home.
Damn.
Never took a book home. I could get it done. Whatever was needed to be done to me, I can get that done at school. Like it was I didn't have that struggle. Got to college, boy, that first semester I was like,
threw you for a loop.
In the world? Like I can't do like you giving paper after paper. You got to do stuff every single class. I was like, hold up, it was a shock. It was a shock.
It was a
definitely
shock.
going from that where it was like so easy to now being like, holy shit, people are way more educated than I am, and I have a whole lot of catching up to do, and it is not. And it wasn't like I went to college and had to go in on some type of like remedial courses or anything like that. It was just like straight one-on-one.
It's a different workload.
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah, it was different.
So we're pulling on 2 different threads here. So I want to see which way you want to go on. The one way is what was our understanding of education, and we touched on it a little bit growing up, and a lot of that was put on us by our parents. The other thread is when did you starting to realize the level of education we actually got
that right,
and how that could actually
let's go that way.
You want to go that route because I agree with you. Now, admittedly, college was relatively easy for me too, but it was relatively easy in the sense like I lowered my expectations of being a straight A student.
Got it.
And I was like, I'm going to be an A, a B, and now some C's.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I just want to
yeah.
graduate with above a 3.0 GPA.
Okay. Yes.
Which is a straight B. It's like an 85 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I pull off some C's, in high school, if I was pulling C's, I was like,
no C's.
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And even if I pulled a B minus, that wasn't good in high school.
Yeah.
Like a B, I was like, if I was getting B's, it was B plus.
Yeah.
And B plus was the time was like 87, 88, 89 type of thing.
Yeah.
And so now there's that level of like, oh shit, okay. So why is that, right? So now you start thinking, and this isn't something that I thought about back then, but now as adults, what we start thinking about, well, why is it that our schools and our education systems through K through 12 weren't as advanced as some others? And then we start talking about some socioeconomic things, some systems in place, and this is why
material.
I do, and this is the material that was taught to us.
Who created the material?
Who created it, and why it's trash, and the resources that are allocated to schools with kids that look like you and I.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. When we start getting into, I think you're starting to see it with some of the legislation that's being passed right now, where you start to get the school choice thing, and how that's, they've done it in, back in my home state of Arkansas, they did that, and it's trash. It's fake. And then they're starting to do it here in
Texas. They just passed the law. Yeah.
The same thing, and it's just these types of things. Our education is so manipulative, and it's the effect that it has on, like you said, specific individuals, specific communities. It's not by accident,
right?
And it's like you don't know that unless you get away from those types of things, and many people don't. Most people are gonna grow up and live within 50 miles of where you grew up. And if you don't get out into the world, and if you didn't get a chance to go to some type of higher education, then all you have is that education that you have right there, and that's all you know. Besides that, and what you see on Facebook. So I think you and I have been privileged enough and lucky enough to, I would say, get outside of our hometown, have a little bit more diverse mindset or openness, and then being able to look back and see like, dang, it's so funny to see how you grew up and what your education was, what they focused on, kind of what I was focused and taught to myself in the South, but also what it was just spoke about in like the 90s, like even in specific topics, whether that's manifest destination, that type of propaganda, or the Civil War and that type of stuff. So it's just so funny to be able to get out of this and kind of see it now and be like, yeah, sometimes what's taught to us, it ain't an accident.
No, it's not an accident. That's the thing that bothers me right now about the current education system, is when we talk about as people of color that we're not trying to make excuses, we're not trying to have handouts, but if you aren't given the same tools growing up and being taught that, then your success rate or your probability of succeeding is increasingly low.
Yes.
And so for you to have to be like, I have to count on leaving this place and going to try to figure it out, like not everyone's going to have that privilege, and that also shouldn't be the case. Like you should be able to say, I'm going to stay at my home and within my hometown within a 50-mile radius and build a life here. Like that should still be fine. But like the one thing that I soon realized is that when I got into college, I went to a very good university with a lot of valedictorians, with a lot, but it wasn't diverse. There wasn't very many people of color there. And why is that? Is because most of us didn't have a great education and couldn't get into that school.
Absolutely.
And I got lucky to get in there. And as soon as I got in there, I got hit with a whirlwind with certain things. Like I remember switching in to the College of Communication to get my degree. I got my degree in mass communication. And I had to take what was the exact course? It was like a English language, like vocabulary, like grammar class.
Okay.
Boy, when I tell you, I was good in English in high school, and I was getting straight A's.
Yep.
I got into this class, and we had to take a grammar exam the first day. Bro, I got a 37.
Yeah.
And my professor was like, you only get to take it one more this semester. If you don't pass this, you don't pass the class, and you don't get into the College of Communication. And I had already pulled on every string because this was my final draw. I was like, I tried international relations. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I tried astronomy and physics. I don't want to do this. Like, I have to
get it.
I have to declare my major.
Yes.
And so I need to pass this. And I realized everyone in the class knew their grammar like
Yeah.
And they all were from, freaking Vermont. They were from California. They were from all these places that had great education, that taught them that shit. I didn't get taught that shit like that.
Yes.
I did it, and it was very evident. Now, what did I do? I studied my ass off.
Yeah.
I ended up with an 87. I passed with 87, so it was good. And so now, like, a lot of people say this, my grammar got really fucking good, and I got pretty good at writing. That I used to have shout out to my boy JP. He was an economics major, and he used to write these fucking dense economy papers that used to get published on some economy forums, and he would send them to me to correct his grammar, because he was like, yo, I can write about economy, but my grammar's fucking trash.
Yes.
So I got really good at that shit. But man, it was just this whole whirlwind. I saw the confidence of certain people in classes because they just came from a completely different education system, and it was like, yo, like, now as an adult, even then it didn't register. You realize, like, this is why people of color and marginalized communities get kept down, because they're not given the same tools to succeed.
But I think we're given that same time.
We're given the same story that we are, though.
And it's almost like they're setting the education that we're receiving is steering us in a specific way, in a specific purpose. We are taught to, hey, get an education, go to college, get out, you'll get a good job. Somebody will hire you, get a good job, and you'll be a good worker. A good worker. You're not taught about critical thinking, the importance of
financial literacy,
like just how to have these types of proper debates, grammar, how to those types of the focus isn't on those specific critical thinking skills, and it's more so put on 1 + 1 = 2. Like, follow the process,
all this
follow
thing.
the rules.
You know how many times I was like, I can't wait to use the Pythagorean theorem in the real world, bro. Like, what the fuck? Bro, 90% of the shit that I learned in school, bro, I don't even fucking use, bro.
Right,
Yo, teach us how to do our taxes.
Thank you. Yo.
Teach us how to invest.
Yeah, how do they calculate a credit score? Like,
right.
Those types of things are real world applications, but all of that for us was tied up into a class called home ec, where we also learned
home economics. I took
how
home
to
ec.
sew
How
a
to
pillow.
sew.
The biggest thing I got is sewing a pillow is what I got out of home economics, and this is the class that was going to teach me about financial literacy.
Yeah.
That's what
it was wild, but my whole point is that the education system it's twofold. It's that the people that have money and the people that have wealth, mainly white people in this country, are able to put their kids into schools that do teach them real life skills, private schools.
Yes.
Able to put them in there because they're able to afford that.
Yeah.
And again, people say this choice, choice voucher that you get here, it's like what, $10,000 or something like that. But in reality, it's just rich people that are using it to put their kids into private schools, and they don't need it. And that's taken away from the public education.
There we go.
There's a couple of layers to this. There's the layer that, again, most lower socioeconomic communities, brown and black folks communities, don't have enough money to have good public education.
Right.
They don't have enough money. They don't have enough resources. They don't even have enough chalk. They don't have enough some of the little things. And because a lot of that is based off of tax dollars.
I mean, as a person that works with a lot of K through 12 schools, we're seeing it right now. Mass, like all of your inner city schools, they're losing funding. They're losing students, which is directly tied to funding. So now they're losing funding. And these, people, quote unquote, school choice are going to these, private schools, charter schools, those types of things, as opposed to like having solid. It should be, how about we fix the curriculum and make sure that everyone is able to have a proper education, as opposed to trying to decide, or we're going to just invest only in these certain amount of specific schools, and only certain specific individuals can get into these type of schools.
Yeah. It's a frustrating and annoying situation, because we have all this money in the world. Like the fact that I just heard that in 3 weeks, I think it's been 3 weeks since we've attacked Iran, we've dropped $11 billion. But we don't have enough money for a good education system in the United States of America. But we got enough money to go drop bombs on little girl schools, actually, in Iran. Like, it's fucking insane to say that, or even to be like, well, it's tied to the taxes that people in your city, create and make. Well, it's like, if you live in a city that's a lower inner city community where people don't have high-paying jobs, people don't have that opportunity, then that's going to happen. This idea that we shouldn't be investing in our children because it's the fault of it's the fault of the community that they grew up in, the city that they lived up in. It's crazy. Like, kids don't have a choice. They don't have a choice.
Right. Yeah,
this is where they were born. This is where their parents are.
Yep.
And this idea that educating the kids isn't better for the country in general.
Overall,
it's so much better.
I think you would assume that you and I would think that, like, if we have an educated population, isn't that good for everyone? But I don't think that's what the people at the top really think.
No, I think I agree. They don't think that. You know why? Because they know that.
Right.
They actually do know that it is, but
Right.
they don't want that to be the case.
Okay,
it's not in their best interest.
There we go. Yes.
Of course they know that.
Yes.
Like, I think a lot of the people up top are fucking stupid for other reasons. But, like, in this perspective, it's all very calculated. Like, the system isn't... This idea that the system's broken is incorrect. It's not broken. It's working exactly how they want it to work.
Yes, how it's designed to work.
Exactly how it's designed to work.
Yes.
We'll prop up the Barack Obamas of the world who grew up poor, but he became president. And we'll say, look, if he can do it, so can everyone else.
And it's like, no.
You know, we'll do that. We'll tokenize the Latino who, you know, AOC, who went to Boston University, who's from the Bronx, who's went to my alma mater, and now she's but look at her, like everyone, and it's like, yo, like, yes, there are instances.
You have to be exceptional.
You have to, and this is what we talked about before.
Yes.
You and I work, you know, growing up, black and brown in corporate America.
Yep.
Like, it's this exceptionality when most of the white people that have power are just a bunch of average white people. Average as shit.
Average
as shit.
If you compare the last two Republican presidents to the last, to Barack Obama, you look and see, even to the last, I would say, two of the last three Democratic presidents, whether that's, Clinton or Obama, compared to Trump and Bush, like, you see the difference there, in those, where you can see how education or how specific people have to be exceptional just to get by, and that's not the rule there.
Yeah.
Where these other people can be average and they're having the same amount of success, and they're peers.
And then we get told, pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Oh,
like,
yeah, bro.
I was always taught, you work hard in school, things will come.
That part.
I know a lot of people that worked hard in school. I know one girl in specific, God bless her, I'm not going to drop her name here, but that I went to high school with, and she graduated top 10 in the class. Really smart. She was supposed to go to Boston University with us, but it was too expensive. And just never did.
Should not be the case.
And just never did. And went to community college and ended up working retail for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
Like, literally for the rest of her life. And she was such a smart woman. She was a black woman. And it's like, there's stories like that all the time. Like, she did really well.
All too many,
but she didn't have the financial aid to get in.
and it shouldn't be that way.
It should not even be like that. And yes, there are people like, well, you got to keep trying. It's like, yo, it's so easy for you to say that. It's so easy when the different doors. So I think we've established, and obviously one of my biggest plights with education, with the American education system, is that it's not equitable. And then if you come from a lower income inner city community, you're not going to get the same education as your wealthy counterpart in another wealthy city, even if it's public education. And that's without even talking about the private education system, which I have my beef with. But I also understand that as a parent, you want to do what's best for your kid. And if you can afford it, you're probably going to put your kid in private education.
Right, absolutely.
Even though I think that it lacks diversity, it lacks an understanding of what, like, street smarts is for stuff.
If we continue to downplay and almost make it diversity a negative connotation, we could say, like, diversity, equity, inclusion is a bad thing, then we don't have to value diversity. So there's no value to that.
There's no value to it.
Now I can keep propping up why this is just makes sense, where you're like, no, that doesn't make sense.
And it causes more separation, more segregation, dare I say. More segregation. And of course, we're not saying that, like, shout outs to my boy Marcus. I know he doesn't listen. My boy Marcus is a black man, grew up in Richmond, Virginia, but he was a stellar athlete. Him and his brother were stellar athletes. He played soccer at a very high level. His mom worked her ass off to put him in private school, like an hour away.
Yes.
And so we have this conversation all the time. He was like, bro, like, if it wasn't for my mom working her ass off and driving an hour for us to go to this private school, like, he was like, we were the only black people at the school, but we were there because we were smart, sure.
Yeah.
But soccer helped us get there. Like, the sports helped us get there. And, like, that shouldn't be the case when, most of the kids in that school were just rich.
Yeah.
That's it. Rich mommy and daddy and be able to pay for it and
Yes.
blah, blah. And again, I'm not knocking a parent's true paternal
you're not saying it's not the fault of the parents of
that want to want what's best for their kids.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I do think it's the fault of adults that created this private school system and all that, and the separation. But, like, it's also not the fault of the kids that are there. I'm not saying that, but it's like, at what point? Like, I don't know the answer to this, but, like, at what point are we like, all right, we're just creating crazy separation and segregation?
Well, do you think that, considering the lack of information that was at our fingertips when you and I grew up compared to nowadays, do you think that maybe that presents an opportunity for, you know, to maybe level out the playing field when it comes to education? Because now you can get some of that education if you seek it. But the biggest thing is just going to come down to, like, if that is something that you're seeking, where you and I could have seeked, it would have been a completely different experience trying to get, you know, that amount of education. We just didn't have smartphones and technology back then.
But that's the problem, because you have to know what you're seeking. And so
yeah, absolutely. That's going to still come through.
That still comes through
education. Yeah,
it's
going to come through like a parent saying like, hey, I know what they're teaching you in school, but like I got to teach you these other things, and this is where you're going to have to, you know, I got to give you these other materials and out of school work for you to learn like things that are going to be really valuable to you, I think so.
But then again, that comes down to the privilege of what you and I have, because we didn't have that privilege, because our parents didn't know.
No,
they were just
right.
like, go to
you
school.
don't know what you don't know.
But now you and I have that privilege because we got out. But again, we're one of the few, so very few now.
Yes.
And so now we can tell our kids.
Yeah, the system is broken still.
We know. We were like, hey, I'm going to make sure you learn this. Maybe I'm not going to teach you this, but I'm going to seek something differently. And so now we're in this cycle where the few get out and their kids are going to benefit from the few getting out. But what if you're still stuck in the system? What if your family's still stuck in the lower socioeconomic communities in these lower income cities? Like, they're not going to know what they don't know what they don't know. So unless the actual curriculum changes in public education, which it's not going to change,
right?
But unless it changes, we're going to have the same thing again, because it's all done purposefully.
Yeah, but even if you like, I mean, it's just like for you and I, even growing up, like you come from one of the better educated regions in the U.S.
I do,
and I come from the worst educated region
South,
in the U.S. and from one of the worst states in the U.S. and probably one of the worst counties in the U.S. But anyways, it's just so funny to just even get to understand, like, we have a whole group of regions of people. This even goes past, I mean, it does come down to social economics, because I mean, there's a direct correlation between people in the South and people in the Northeast and why the education is so low. But that even, it shifts past, like, it ain't even about just black and brown at that point. Like, even the white people where I'm from are poorly educated. Like, it's not like just
you said you come to predominantly white school. I agree with you.
So it's like
it comes down to the system, and not to exclude, like, to your point, because there's a lot of white people in the South.
Yes,
there's a ton of white people in the South.
Yes,
right. So it's still that, like, a lot of these red ass states,
which is crazy,
are white.
Yeah,
and they vote against their own interests.
Now, why do you think that? And I know this is going political with it, but why did education become woke?
Because, again, like we said, these billionaires and these politicians understand that if you have an educated population, you will be overthrown.
Right,
you will be overthrown.
Yeah.
And so they want to be able to control the curriculums, because they just want to. The curriculums are only made, and this is what we just talked about, to manufacture worker bees.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Worker bees.
Yep.
Because if it wasn't designed like that, if it was designed to everyone find wealth and success, you'd be teaching entrepreneurship.
Yes.
You would be teaching more creative stuff.
Right.
You'd be teaching those. That's not how it's designed. It's designed to know your 1+1s, your A's and B's, your geometry. It's to know your basic biology, basic chemistry, stuff like that, and that's it. And then you go out into the world, you go get a college degree, and then you just get a job. Yeah. And then you work at a desk.
I mean, that's exactly what
I was taught.
That was success.
And it hasn't changed. Yeah. It really hasn't changed.
Yep.
Unless you go to a charter school in some way, shape, or form, or some sort of private school where they're going to amplify the true skills needed to be successful. And we've talked about what does success even really mean. But I mean, that I believe that's the only reason why the conservatives on the right are saying that this education is a woke thing. Because they know that if you're educated, you're going to start thinking critically.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and that is like the danger of critical thinking skills, which is, or not even say that it's the dangers and the power of critical thinking skills.
Danger for them, power for us.
Yes, and they understand the power, the value, and overall just what the value of that is. It's just so funny to me now that if you're educated, you're considered woke. And if you went to like these liberal schools like Harvard, like, oh yeah, you're way woke now. If you go to Harvard, like that, now you know way too much. You have so much education, you know too much. Unlike somebody who didn't.
Well, I also think it's the curriculums, right? Because we've been talking about K through 12, but let's talk about college and universities, right? Because that's a whole different layer of it too. And a lot of these quote unquote woke schools, these maybe northern schools, they have expanded their curriculums to include stuff like gender studies, to include stuff like African American studies, or African studies, to include stuff like around mental health.
How was that for you at BU? Did you have those? Because
Yeah,
coming from a liberal school at Iowa, like it was major on the African American studies, women's studies. Like it had, I feel like it was a huge push on focus on those types of that curriculum. But I feel like I don't know how that was. Maybe for someone at BU, it was like a little bit higher of an education. I feel like.
No, I mean, I don't remember them pushing anything on us. I just know that it was readily available. Like a lot of those courses, it was readily available, and things that obviously you don't think about or hear about in high school at all. Like that was never spoken about.
Yep.
And so I do think BU helped me think much more critically. I will say that. I definitely think, because I did take like an African studies class.
Yeah.
100%, like international relations, knowing like, okay, like we really aren't that big and bad. Like, holy shit. You know, like my international studies class that I took, mind you, I got a C-. It was really, really bad. But the one thing there, my professor was in love with Iceland, the country of Iceland.
Yeah.
Loved it. He was like, this is how we need to live. And I was like, holy shit. And that made me open mind. And I've looked up Iceland. Ironically enough, I played with a bunch of Icelandic dudes in the soccer team at BU. And yeah, that country's run super efficiently, super liberal and progressive, with the exception of it's not diverse.
Yeah,
it's a bunch of white, blonde,
right.
There's
Everybody looks the same.
350,000.
Yeah.
But like, they have like a handful of rapes a year, like actual sexual assault.
Yeah.
Like violence is very low. They've completely 99% of their energy is clean energy.
Okay.
It comes from thermonuclear energy, and now granted they're geographically in a good place. They're right along a fault line, so they have very active volcanoes, so they tap into that energy, like run just very effectively. My point is with saying that is like, you know, I wouldn't have known that in high school. I wouldn't have known that, growing up in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, right?
Yeah.
It took me going to university to understand those things. Now, while the reality is nowadays, I do think a lot of university is a hoax, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because it's a fucking money grab. Like
these institutions, the worst part, yes.
Yeah, these institutions are all within itself just a business first.
Yeah,
business first,
yes. Education
second. My university, when I went, was like one of the second or third most expensive universities to go to ever. This always happens. My bad. I'm sorry. Second or third most expensive. At the time, it used to call room, board, tuition, everything about $40,000 a year. When I left, it was about $44,000 a year.
Crazy.
Now,
how do you?
Now that shit's like $65,000 a year. And it was a private university.
Right.
And so I'm thinking like, man, when I left, now granted, I went to school for free for 3 years. I got really lucky. Yeah, and it wasn't because of soccer. I didn't have a scholarship.
Oh, bro.
No. I got all grant money from Boston University.
God, you on a Pell Grant?
Yeah, they paid $30,000 a year all 4 years for me.
Duh.
So I left with like around $45,000 of debt. With interest, it was about $50,000 in debt.
Damn, okay.
Paid it off. But like kids are leaving with like fucking $350,000 in debt for undergrad, bro.
Which is crazy. And that's no...
Bro, it don't make sense.
And
you're not going to make that money anytime soon.
I mean,
especially
you're
not in this job market.
Lucky if you make it. You know, like I say, you're not going to make that. You might not make that in the next 20 years.
You don't.
Like dang. Like a lot of people aren't going to make that type of money. Like 300,000 is not what a lot of people are going to make.
Not at all.
So,
and to pay that back, bro. Like even if you make $300,000 in 1 year. Let's say you're a unicorn. You still won't be able to pay off here because you got other things you got to pay for.
Come on. And before you get to that point, how much other debt you've accrued and the amount of time it's going to take you, that's crazy.
Yeah, for example, I think BU now, and I got to look it up. Actually, let me look it up right now because let me see where this is.
Yes, I would say for me, I remember going to Iowa, it was $21,000 a year. Luckily, I didn't have to pay. I was on a full ride. I didn't have to pay any of that. And I guess that's out-of-state tuition as well. But still, though, it's just like, I couldn't imagine anybody trying, like you can't, when you start looking at that, I mean, that's, I don't know, the education system when it comes to like higher education, how they're doing the whole amount of money that it costs to go to school nowadays is crazy because I feel like with that type of money, you should be almost have like job placement. It shouldn't be like, all right, you go here, you get a degree and you get this paper and somebody might respect it. Where, you know, if you invested that much money into anything else, you would be expecting some type of close to financial return on that.
Yeah.
But
bro,
that's not what you're going to get.
These numbers are insane.
Boston
University, I was so lowballing that. I can't believe this. 2026 estimated undergraduate cost for a resident at Boston University, means room and board living on campus, approximately $91,000 per year.
Damn, so you're looking at
Bro.
A $400,000 education.
Bro, that's $69,000 for tuition.
That's crazy.
$20,000 for room and board. Bro, when I was there,
but the funny thing, and they'll give you that loan, but you couldn't go get a home loan for that amount.
No, but you couldn't go get that home.
Like, that's crazy.
And imagine that, going and be like, I want to go to Boston University because my parents couldn't afford for that shit. And like I said, I had loans. When I went, it was $30,000 for tuition, and it was $10,000 room and board. Yep. That's just for all intents and purposes. So it was about $40,000. That's what it was. They paid my tuition. They gave me a grant, and I had a couple of grants. They pretty much paid my tuition. Yo, that is insane that's what we're looking at right now. I thought it was like, bro, I can't. Yo, school is a fucking. Yo, college can be a fucking scam, in my opinion, unless you need to do something highly specialized, like be a lawyer, like be a doctor, be some sort of engineer in some way, shape, or form.
AI is supposedly replace some of those, but anyway.
No, you're right.
Okay,
but like, if you want to be an engineer in some way, shape, or form, where you can make big cake, like make big money, like, all right, cool. STEM But like, yo, at the end of the day, like anything I really learned in my degree in mass communication, bro, I don't really fucking use like that, bro.
No.
All it was, Job just wanted to make sure that you could apply yourself for 4 years at a school. That's all it is.
Yes.
That's all it is.
In a social setting, typically the same, like, you're going to be around these type of people, these type of environments. Can you go and get something done in this structure? But where, like, I mean,
what a scam, bro.
I mean, I think we already knew. We all knew that, especially our generation that really got hit with the student debt coming out at the time.
Well, because of the housing market crash, right?
Because there was a housing market crash back, the late 2010 or
2008,
2010 time period. Whereas like the market, we got out like, yo, congratulations. Y'all need to figure out how to pay this money back. We're like, we ain't got no job. What are you talking about? Oh, well, you got 6 months. You need to get on it. I remember having people being like, yo, this is being staggered with debt that was, again, mind-boggling. I'm like, man, how are you going to pay this off?
Or did you get I was 4 years?
Full scholarship all 4 years. So luckily I didn't have to any student loans or anything like that. So I was like, man, but just hearing the story, I'd be like, ain't no way I would have been able to pay none of that shit. That'd have been crazy.
I got lucky. And again, even though I didn't know that much, I owed $50,000. I got lucky because I started working for the federal government after. So the federal government always got money, and part of my compensation package was they paid for my federal grants. Federal loans.
Yeah.
So they were paying back my federal loans, and they were paying it double because my federal loans was like $150 a month. They were paying $300 a month for 2.5 years. So I was paid well in advance, and it left me only paying my own private loans that I took out.
Right.
So I got super lucky, and I got super lucky I was employed. I was never unemployed. Even during the housing crisis, I was never unemployed.
Yeah.
And I was able to get a job. So I paid off all my loans officially in February of 2020.
Okay.
Paid off all my loans, and I paid off my car all on the same one. I got a big fat commission check, and I was like, wow, I paid off all my shit. I'm gonna have so money. Nothing to show for it.
But again, they don't teach you that. They don't teach you like, yo, don't pay off all this stuff, man. Keep you some cash, do some investments, make sure your interest rates are down, and then if you can go and find some type of investment makes more than your interest rate, that's the way to do it. Like, oh, that's how they do that. I thought you were supposed to get all this money and then go pay all your debts off like that, and like, nah, don't give them all your money. You need to make your money work for you. But we don't learn that. That's not in education.
It's just wild to me now. People always talk about how, United States, because we are quote unquote a powerhouse. I say that in quote unquote because we're just an imperialistic, colonialistic, fucking heathen trash of shit. But we got power. Yeah. We got power. We've got money. And the reality is that from a higher education perspective, we do have the best education in the world from a higher education perspective.
From
higher education. Yeah. K through 12 is a completely different story, though.
Yeah.
That's not. We aren't number one in many areas, but that higher education, you have a lot of the smartest talents from India,
but that's from
China,
the world come here.
The world comes
but
here.
It's not like pulling from our.
It's so funny we're talking about. I just came back literally right before this. I had my Boston University alumni South by Southwest brunch that they have every year. That's so funny that literally just happened. And you go there and you're rubbing elbows with like a lot of alumni that live in Austin. And, you talk about what do you do? And there's some really highly successful ass fucking people that came out of Boston University that were at that brunch that do big things. But what also struck me too is there's a lot. When I was there, they used to tout Boston University was very diverse. What they meant by that was diverse from other countries.
Yes.
Like there was a lot of Indians that came over.
Diversity.
There was a lot of people from China, from Japan. But it wasn't diverse within the melting pot of the United States.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's still the same now. I sat at a table. I just sat down, and there was two folks from one girl from China and two folks from India that were there, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we graduated Questrom, blah 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 blah." And like they came here to study for that.
Yeah.
And a lot of them also come from very wealthy families,
Right.
internationally.
Yes.
And that's how they're able to afford, and that's also why these prices are rising so much, right?
There's no lacking of new students. They're not losing enrollment. Enrollments are going up, like these universities. So it's not like they're losing out on money. They like, we can charge this, and you're gonna pay it. And it's kind of like you say, like a scam almost.
91, and then they got the audacity to write me every month. Can you please give us a gift?
Yeah,
contribute. Outta here,
alumni.
bro.
You gotta be a proud alum.
Yeah, dog. Come support
Do you believe?
the friends of BU.
Believe.
And don't get me wrong. I loved Boston University. I had a blast. It was 4 of the best years of my life.
Absolutely.
And I did get a good education. What does good mean? I got like a good degree, $180,000 degree.
Yeah, you put
right
that on the
behind
paper.
you, actually. Behind you, actually.
Like the Kanye, yeah.
You know what I mean? But like,
keep you warm.
At the end of the day, you know, for any young kids, like, unfortunately, you have to start weighing out, like, is this worth it to put myself in this debt?
Ooh.
And that's the problem, because many places do require a degree.
I was about to say, I mean, honestly speaking,
but nothing knocks experience.
You got to understand what worth is. Is it worth it from financially speaking? No, it is financially not worth it.
No.
Now, is it worth it from a social and just like overall life experiences perspective? Then yeah.
But that brings up another good point. Then, like, what's the point of an education at this point? You know what I mean? And what level of education? Because I agree with you. There's a level of, one of the first things people ask now in conversations, what do you do for a career, right? We talk about when you meet someone.
Yep.
I always feel like another natural topic sometimes is like,
where you go to school? Yeah, absolutely.
People are trying to size you up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If I say I went to Harvard, like, oh, that's what's up.
Right.
Or if I went to, Harvard, Iowa, or Harvard, Arkansas Community College, then that's going to be a different. You're like, oh, that's what's up. And so it's like, yeah, absolutely.
There's a status thing, and then like, it's what they put in your head here in the culture. Yeah. Like education, and I'm not saying, and again, the idea is you should be educated. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
There's a level of like knowledge that you should always seek, and knowledge does help progress the human condition. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that, but also like what type of education you're getting, and like, does a degree from Boston University, from Harvard, differ that tremendously than going to your state college?
No.
It doesn't.
No.
There it is. And it doesn't. The reality is it doesn't. The amount of people that I know that went to Rhode Island College or these small colleges that are super successful, that do so well for themselves, is astonishing. But you also get fed this shit. You got to go to the top universities. Try to go to the top universities. That's why I went to Boston University too.
Come on, they got marketing.
I was fed this, dog. I got to be out here.
They got the marketing. It's it's an Ivy League, or you're in or these Northeast schools, like these private schools up in the Northeast, like. You, even in the South, growing up, like, oh yeah, BU, oh, that's a good school. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know anything about BU. Never been. Don't know anybody outside of Derek that's ever gone there before. But like, even just growing up in the South, like, oh, if it's in the Northeast, these private Northeast schools, like, oh, these are all good schools.
Yeah,
like go there. Like so I think it's not like by accident. It's not I don't think it's like, for even someone in the South to understand the value of I don't say the value, to understand that. These are the good schools. I don't think that's by, it wasn't a coincidence. It's designed to look that way.
Education to me was always pitched as intelligence.
Absolutely.
That's what it was.
And success. It was a direct connection between education, success. Just education and success and wealth. And then and success, wealth. Yes.
Is what it came down to.
Yep.
And as I've gotten older, I realized that that's just not the case.
No, not at all.
Because we live in a very highly educated, and then when I say educated, I mean you got your high school degree, you went to college. That's how they define it pretty much. This thing, right? Percentage. We live in one of the most highly educated countries. I would think. I could be wrong.
And it wasn't always like this.
And it wasn't always like this. And then we love looking at other countries and calling them stupid. And it's like, bro, you first of all, most people in other countries know how to speak more than one language.
Bro, come on.
More than one language.
Just for starters there, like, we're so smart and we're so educated that we say that the only language that you need to speak is English. And that was taught to us like, oh, no, if you speak English, the rest of the world speaks English. Don't worry about trying to figure out how to communicate any other language. That's crazy.
That's crazy,
That's
bro.
crazy.
That's already a level of intelligence that's like, Bro, you've been able to learn 2 languages or 3. Some people know 3 or 4.
Like, dang.
Bro, that's such a big deal.
Yes.
You know what's crazy? And so that there's this ridiculous notion that other countries and
if you speak another language that's not American, then you are automatic. You can speak multiple languages, but if you don't speak English, then you're also not that educated.
Well, even if you come here and you do speak English, but you have an accent, people look at you funny.
Oh, yeah, you're not that smart.
He's not that smart. Right.
Yeah. This is your third language.
Right. That's my third language. What you mean, bro? That's crazy to me.
Yes. Yeah.
And like that's the entitlement that we have, the hubris that we have. And also coming from people that like aren't even like
don't even speak English that
don't
well.
even speak English well.
Yes.
It's like, bro, like what are we talking about? Just some quick fucking stats that I have here, right? Because like I said before, from a higher education perspective, the United States is one of the meccas where people from all over the world come to go to school. And I don't mean that as a brag. I just mean that like it's because it's a business and it's a status thing. People want to go to Harvard and all that. But like from an international K through 12's ranking, this is PISA 2012 results. PISA is the Program for International Student Association. It's a triennial international study conducted by the OECD that measures 15-year-old students' proficiency in reading, mathematics, and science. So pretty much evaluates how well students apply knowledge to real-life scenarios. The OECD is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development that consists of 38 member countries, primarily high-income developed economies, committed to democracy and market-based policies. So now that we know what PISA and OECD is, from a reading perspective, the U.S. ranks 6th overall among 81 countries, according to some analysis. From a science perspective, the U.S. ranks 12th out of 37 OECD countries and 16th out of 81 countries overall, which is fascinating to me because we say we are at the leading edge of technology and innovation. And a lot of the reason for that is because we outsource shit and we poach people from other countries.
We import that information. That's all imported in.
All that imported in, 100%. Yes. From a mathematics perspective, this is even lower. We're ranked 28th out of the 37 OECD countries, 34th out of the 81. Right? So it's like, it's so interesting that we think we're number one. We're actually not number one in any of the 4 major categories.
Well, do you feel like growing up was what the focus of specific subjects were when you growing up? Because for me, I feel like it was a heavy focus on English and history, like growing up, where like math classes weren't necessarily like, of course you took them. There was no STEM, there was no engineering or any type of technology classes whenever I was growing up. Science was kind of, but like the science I think was so broad. I think we just took a few, but really, really heavily on history and English.
No, I don't think history was a huge emphasis. I liked it. For us, it was definitely English, math, science. I would definitely say,
which is the good. I would definitely say those are some good subjects as opposed to English only and like history and civics and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's
no, it's interesting. It's just one of those things. So look, at the end of the day, like in conclusion, as I get older, my relation to education or what my understanding of education has obviously changed tremendously. The curriculums are built not to have us succeed as wealthy individuals, to really be able to have financial liberation, financial freedom. We're not built for that. It's built to just be to turn into a good worker, be in work for those that have power. Yeah. Right. That's one thing that I obviously realized. The other thing that's very obvious is that we don't have enough money, quote unquote. I put that we don't have enough money. They tell us to provide more resources for these lower income schools and societies, mainly brown and black people, but obviously there's white people in there too. Lower, marginalized communities. We don't have the money when in reality we do. Yep. Right. But it's done on purpose. Yes. And the third piece is that I just don't think that everyone needs to go to college because, to be honestly, financially, I don't think it makes sense for a lot of people.
I don't know.
You got to do something.
You
got to do something.
I used to be on this. I don't think everybody should go to college, but I think we say that everybody shouldn't go to college.
No, not everyone shouldn't. I don't think everyone has to. Not that you shouldn't.
No, or has to go to college. No, but there should be
go to vocational school. Yeah. Oh no, you got to go do something.
Yeah. There should.
I'm talking about the traditional hire, like the $90,000 a year.
I don't think it should cost $90,000. Yeah. I think if you should want to go, you should be able to go.
Okay.
I don't think cost should prevent you from getting an education.
That's fair, but that's never going to change.
As a taxpayer, even as a damn taxpayer, cost shouldn't prevent you from getting an education.
Bro, European nations, socialist nations, social democracies, for example, Sweden, college is free.
And it should be.
College is free. Education should be free.
Yes.
Healthcare should be free.
Yes.
Education should be free.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
100% agree with you. And so that's obviously not where we're not. Now, if that was the case, then yeah, go to college. Yeah. I'm just saying financially, if you come from a lower economic and you want to do something, but you realize, hey, I can't afford this. And to be honest, I don't even know if I really want to. I was just going to go because people would tell me, go do something, but go to a vocational school. I'll tell you right now what's not. And I know this is frowned upon. Not necessarily frowned upon, but there's a level of like, oh, you're really doing that because people love to build up like desk jobs. That makes you smart. Oh, you work behind a desk. But like certain physical labor jobs, like you can make cake. Like go to plumbing school. Go become an electrician.
Yeah, all of those. Yes.
Yeah. Bro, my boy is a master plumber who went to high school with, bro.
Like you're making
biggest dumbass in high school, bro. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't because he's not smart. That's not what I mean. But he just didn't care. Yeah. He was a class clown, blah, blah, blah. Dude is a master plumber now. He owns his own business, bro. Bro's caking, shitting all over me, bro. And I went to Boston University, dog.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is the shit that I'm talking about. Now, you can find your niche. Yes. You know? You can find your niche. And I think the other big piece is, like, as parents or as people that listen to this, well, we're not parents, but anybody, like, yo, you got to teach, like, show your kids the way from that perspective. If you can.
There we go.
Little cousins or something, show them the way.
Yep.
Hey, tell them that, hey, you don't have to go to college necessarily to do X, Y, Z. You could go to do this and do this. Maybe go take a class on entrepreneurship, right? I think we need to embrace the creative stuff just as much, too. I think we really do. Yeah. I think that's super helpful. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents now as an adult, but I'll kick it over to you.
No, I was going to say, I think especially nowadays because a lot of, not to harp on this topic, but what a lot of AI is able to do is replace things such as engineering.
Yep.
It is able
software
to replace
coding.
Analysts. All of these things that had such high values or even not even specific topics, industries that were, that you would just go to college, like going to like a large college or a large university. Like these were people that are going to like these small niche colleges to get, I know I want to be a mechanical engineer. Yeah. I'm going to get the College of the Mines or something. Like these people are being replaced to where, getting back to what you were saying, creativity is becoming at a higher value by, these plumbers, electricians, these
carpenters,
these roles, all these things that require that aren't able to be replaced by AI.
Not yet, at least. But that's going to take a long time
to
do
that.
Robots.
Yeah.
That's when robots. I agree with you.
So I think that's where, like you're saying, seeing the value of like, hey, maybe you can go and do something with your hands. That's okay. And that don't make you dumb. Like,
no. And you make a lot of money though too. That's
and at the end of the day, that's what the whole reason why we were taught to go get an education and be successful, as we said, was to make a lot of money. And that was all of that. If you can go make that some other way, go do that other way, because there's a lot of ways to skin that cat. I'm with you there.
This is an interesting conversation around education, but we're gonna stop it right there. I appreciate the dialogue. I do feel strongly about that. I think free education should be the case, and just know that it could be a fucking scam and a fraud, and understand what I don't mean this as children. I'm talking about parents or people that we all know, kids in the system. Just understand what it is. Understand what's going on in these public schools, and just take it at face value, and know that you're probably gonna have to do a little bit more for your kids to be well off. So. That's kind of it there. But Herb, what's up, bro? Let's start with you with what you got for some fun facts. What you gonna teach the audience today, bro?
Well, since we're speaking on education, and I think that for you and I, it was very uncommon for someone not to go K through 12, not to get their high school education. Although that said, just 100 years prior to us kind of graduating, that was not the case. Yeah. In fact, in the early 1900s, only about 9% of American teenagers graduated from high school.
How much?
9%.
When?
1910.
That's crazy. Okay, that is crazy.
Only about 9%. There was a nationwide push called the high school movement between 1910 and 1940, where thousands of these public high schools were built. It's so funny because you go to like a lot of these areas, a lot of these schools, and like especially urban areas, and you're like, man, this school was built in the 40s. Like these old ass schools that was built. That's because there was specific push for high school graduation rates to get it to a much higher percentage, to where today, right now, the graduation rate for high school in America is 85 to 90%.
Wow.
So
that's in like a little over 100 years.
Yep, a little over 100 years. Went from 9% to 85, 90%.
Okay. Interesting.
I'll leave you with that.
No, that's good to know. Yeah, yeah. And again, I think a lot of that is because these companies realize that people needed a certain level of education in order to
prepare for the industrial. There we go. Boom, that we were having. So that's where you're seeing the big push for high school education.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's good to know. Those numbers that's astonishing. That's crazy. Mine is somewhat along the line of like just talking about like phrases that are commonly used and missaid. Because we think they say one thing, but it's actually something else.
I may know one of these.
Yeah, you definitely know some of these. But it's funny because I didn't learn about this till like I was a little bit older. Like, oh shit, that's actually what it says. Yeah. This whole time I just say it because you think you hear it, but it goes along the word of like grammar and like and just phrases. But like one of the most popular one, top that I still get wrong, but I know it's nip it in the bud. It's nip it in the bud, not nip it in the butt.
In the bud.
In the bud, B-U-D.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to say nip it in the butt, B-U-T-T, like a
butt. No.
I grew up saying nip it. Dead ass, bro. It's nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
Stop or destroy something in its early stage when it's like a flower bud.
Yeah, that's all I know. That's what I don't get.
Nah, bro, that shit was over my head, bro. You know how many people literally fucking mispronounce that, missay that?
I can see that. I can see that.
It's crazy. Another one, too, that I, up until like, probably recently is true that I used to say it's it's buck naked, not butt naked.
Bucky naked?
Buck naked.
Oh yeah, I used to say booty naked. Yeah, butt naked.
I thought it was butt naked, like butt again.
Naked,
two butts, yo. We always think about butts, bro. I'm sorry, dog.
Oh, it's buck naked.
Buck naked. Yeah, dog, it's buck naked.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess butt naked sounds.
They both make sense too. Your butt, like, but it's buck naked. The actual saying,
like a deer buck. I'm assuming.
Well, actually, let's look it up. What does the buck naked one actually stand for? That's a good point.
That reminds me of. I guess this might be slightly different, but the word Nimrod that is used as a. You see from Bugs Bunny calling Elmer Fudd a Nimrod.
Oh yeah.
It actually means enlightenment, and he's using it sarcastically towards Elmer Fudd. So we thought it growing up that it was a negative. Nimrod.
Nimrod, yeah.
And we thought it's like, oh, you Nimrod, like a dumb person. Actually, it means you're a really highly intelligent person.
Oh, I thought it was a dumb person.
No, it's an intelligent.
Oh,
so, and the reason, it's in another language, but some people are called, like, their names are Nimrod, and this person look it up and like, oh, that's why they called you Nimrod. It doesn't mean.
God, I didn't know that.
And he's using sarcastically, but that's what we thought from watching Bugs Bunny. Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, that's a good one. Buck naked is buck. It's referring to the color texture of buckskin, deer hide. Yeah, deer hide. Yeah, that's what it's from, bro.
Oh yeah. Okay. It's the tan. Okay.
Bro,
all right.
I did not know that. I did not know that. And the other one is I'll give two more and then I'll end it here. Deep-seated. People, I always thought it was deep, DEEP, It's not. It's deep-seated.
Like
S-E, like you're sitting down. Yeah, like you're sitting down.
Deep-seated.
Deep-seated, yes.
I thought it was like deep-seated.
Yes, I thought so too because it means firmly established.
Yes.
Like you have deep-seated thoughts. And so you would think if you planted a seed really deep, it was firm. Seated. But it's seated deep. Like seated,
okay. That's some wild. Who came up with these terms?
It's crazy, bro. I'm like, bro, that's wild, bro. Okay, and then
seated.
Yes, and then the last one, which was the last one that I was looking at here that I wanted to say. Damn, I just lost it. Where is it? It was a good one. It was a really good one. The whet your appetite. You ever heard that?
Okay, kind of.
To whet your appetite, I thought it was like literally wet, like wet. It's wet, W-H-E-T, which means to sharpen your appetite.
See, I don't know that one.
To sharpen your appetite.
Yeah,
you need to whet your appetite, man. You need to whet your appetite.
Yeah,
You have like a not.
I thought it was like making your mouth wet from like that's what I'm thinking. Like whet your appetite is like your mouth salivating, like some type of.
To have a higher palate or something like that. That's what it means. But it's W-H-E-T. I've never even heard of the word W-H-E-T, but I guess it means to sharpen your appetite. So, anyways, those are a couple of sayings, phrases that
over here.
I just learned at 40 years old. It is what it is. Yo.
We got a real Nimrod over here.
Real Nimrod. Good way to end it. Hey, yo, we appreciate y'all, dog. Hey, let us know in the comment section. Holla at us, dog. Peace.